Okay, friends, I'm going to run you through really quick what a Google Tour Builder tour looks like. So if I were going to do something like the Statue of Liberty, I might say something like, hey, uh, Statue of Liberty is more properly called Liberty, enlightening the world. It was dedicated on October 28th, 1886. And I put this picture in here so you can make it bigger and it will be beautiful, but the internet is slow right now, so just pretend. Oh, there we go. Isn't it beautiful? And so if I click next, it'll go to my next slide or my next stop. And so here I am. I'm going to fly. I'm going to start in Fort Myers. So there I was. I was in Fort Myers. And then in Fort Myers specifically, I was at St. Michael Lutheran Church and School. And so from St. Michael Lutheran Church and School, I drove to Southwest Florida International Airport. From there, I flew to Newark International Airport. None of this is real, by the way, guys. I'm making this up, but let's pretend. And then from there, I went to the Hertz rent-a-car because I needed a car. I guess I went to the Avis, whatever. So from there, I went to New Jersey because, that's where Newark is. So I then am going to cross out of New Jersey. I'm going to go over to Black Tom Island because, why not? And after seeing that, I'm going to go over to Liberty Island because I think that'll be fun. So I'm going to depart the ferry from Black Tom Island over to the Statue of Liberty National Monument, which is temporarily closed right now because of the COVID. And then I'm going to start at the base, and it's going to be great. Okay? It's basically something like that. Now, that was just a little 10-slide doodle. I'm going to show you guys two more really quick ones. So let's say I was talking about something once, again, just like one statue thing or something. Let's say I was going to talk about Central Park's statue of William Shakespeare, which has a fascinating history. No, really, it does. And so let's say that I depart from the state of New York and I head down to Manhattan Island because New York City is actually on, not just the 3 big islands, but on 42 islands total. And so then you have lovely Central Park here. And in Central Park, specifically down here, you have what is called the Shakespeare Garden. And if you were to go down there, you would see this little guy right here. Now, I wrote all this text here about the fact that the guy who donated the statue was the brother of the guy who shot Abraham Lincoln and all of that stuff. And I put these little pictures in here. Now, left to their own devices, they will actually scroll through on their own. Once you interfere with them, they kind of, aren't as inclined to do that. And just like I showed you on the other one, you can zoom in on them if you so choose and then flip through them. Otherwise, they just flip through on a delay. So, what am I looking for from your tour? I'm glad you asked. I had the opportunity a number of years ago now to attend the DC trip with one of our classes. So, I made this trip based on events that actually happened. So this was the 2017-2018 school year class trip. So, we started at Southwest Florida International Airport. We flew out of RSW, Regional Southwest, in Fort Myers. The flight was uneventful, but because we loaded last, most of us were not sitting with people we knew. So, there was that. There was much excitement. Now, we then flew from there to the Thurgood Marshall Airport in boarded our motor coach. Motor coach is a fancy way of saying bus. So we got on our bus, and our tour bus operator, Kenny, knew what he was doing. He was zipping his bus around like it was a Kia Soul. Knew the area, knew what was up. He was good people. Now, we then went to the National Archives Museum. So the National Archives Museum has the actual Declaration of Independence, Constitution, Bill of Rights, all that great stuff. We got to learn about the difference between vellum and parchment, because technically they're both like a special kind of leather, but they're just made from different critters. Like one is made from a sheep and one is made from a cow and all this kind of stuff. And we got to figure out like why they're different than other pieces of paper. And we got to see one of the original, like we got to see a copy of the Magna Carta right here, a 1497 copy on permanent loan from DC billionaire David Ebb Rubenstein. That's this guy right here. He's kind of a big deal. He pays for things like fixing the National Monument and whatnot. Washington National Monument. So, yeah. So I put those pictures in. There you go. That's a stop. And then we're off once more. So from there, we went to the Ronald Reagan Building in the International Trade Center, and I've got some pictures of that. And basically, that's where we figured out that everything was going to cost $1 zillion. So, like, a drink was $3 and lunch was $20 for, like, a sandwich. But, you know, it's DC. Then we went to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. And I did try to, you can change your icons when you do this. I'm not going to tell you how, because there are how-to videos that are going to teach you all of that. But so, like, I have the bus icon for when we moved by bus, and then I don't use that icon when we walked around. So we went to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. There's a very famous quote upon the wall about how inaction is actually very. And the side that we actually entered on was this side here. And we entered near the Stephen Tyrone Johns Memorial. And this was a special police officer. They're not security guards. In DC, you have special police that are assigned to do the different things. And so he was assigned to the Holocaust Museum, and a man came in who was an anti-Semite, hated people who were Jewish, and kind of a neo-Nazi type feel, and didn't believe the Holocaust had ever happened and things like that. And he came in to try to hurt people and actually did kill the special police officer when the special police officer interceded. And, you know, so just stuff like this does still happen. There's still hate like this in the world. That was something that we kind of pre-taught so that students would take a moment to kind of appreciate them more, because that is the way that you walk in. And that is important to the people there at the Holocaust Museum as well. Now, Daniel's story is actually something that I'll post a link for you guys to. You can do this as a virtual tour, but it is kind of the part of the Holocaust Museum that is set up for people of your age group. We did an opportunity when I was there to also do an Anne Frank short movie, which is why I have a yellow icon there. And as the 8th graders know, Anne Frank was not the only person in her family to die during the Holocaust. As a matter of fact, her father was the only one of her immediate family that did survive. From this museum, we actually left D.C., and we headed across the Potomac and into Virginia and into Arlington National Cemetery. It is rather large, 624 acres. And we got to see all the beautiful trees that are there. It really is a rather gorgeous location. When we were there, it was cool and drizzling, which meant that we were almost the only people there who were not either the soldiers who guard Arlington or, you know, a couple other people and some employees that are there for tour purposes. So that made it actually very nice. We did actually have to kind of skip JFK's tomb site initially, because when we got there to see that, actually the president of France was there seeing it, and so his security detail would not let us get close, obviously, since he's the president of a country. So we actually kind of did another part of Arlington and then got to swing back around. So it was also another kind of interesting thing. Never know who's going to be in DC when you are. At the very, very top of the hill in Arlington, of course, as we've talked about, is Robert E. Lee's home. So Arlington House. And if you are up on top of the hill and looking out, you can see a whole lot of stuff, even on a drizzly kind of cool day. So over here you have the Capitol building, and there you have the monument, and then you have the Lincoln Memorial and some things like that. So just a very, it's my favorite view of DC. And that's really a hard thing to pick because there are so many wonderful views in our nation's capital. Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, we did have the opportunity to go there and lay a wreath. So that's right here-ish. And then you have the Memorial Amphitheater, which is not a ceremony. The ceremony is actually kind of right down here by the Tomb of the Unknowns, right there. So Ford's Theater. Now you will see I have stopped writing big, long descriptions in here. That's because this is my example. This is not actually my graded work. So the examples where I wrote stuff and there was a paragraph or 2 or 3 or 5, that's good work. Here you see like there's not a picture of text. These are less impressive. But this is just to kind of give you an idea. So Ford's Theater is where President Lincoln was shot. From there, went to the Cannon House office building, where we actually met with some Florida representatives, our representatives in Congress. From there, we did go to the United States Capitol and had a chance to both tour the Capitol and see some of the statuary hall and actually eat a meal there, which was also expensive. Good news. From there, we went to the Library of Congress, which is fantastic if you like books or architecture or America. Come on, guys. So from there, we went to the Supreme Court of the United States. Of course, when we were there, they had a couple courts that were kind of active, so we couldn't go into all the courtrooms and things like that, but we did get to wander around and see some neat stuff. From there, we kind of did some of the Smithsonian's. So I personally did the National Air and Space Museum, which is fantastic. It's got rockets and planes and neat things. And then you have the National 9/11 Pentagon Memorial. So this is actually located in Arlington. So we kind of did things in kind of a roundabout way. We were staying at a Holiday Inn Express and Suites of Alexandria. It's right there on the right. That's where we stayed. It's nice. They had coffee. It was good. The coffee. I don't remember which day. Maybe this is day 2. Maybe this is day 3. I don't know. But we ended up at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And as we mentioned in class, there's a number of different memorials that make up the Vietnam Veterans Memorials. So you have things like the Wall and the 3 Soldiers, the Servicemen, and the Nurses Memorial, and all of those different parts of the memorial itself. The Korean War Memorial is the one with the soldiers walking in line, kind of in formation. The World War II Memorial, which is the one with the big columns, the pillars that have the state names on them. The JPJ Memorial is over here. You can see it from when you're over here, if you know where to look. The Lincoln Memorial, which, like we talked about, you have your, reflecting pool there. And so here's all your Vietnam memorials, and there's your World War II, and there's your Washington Monument, which we did not get a chance to go up in at all because it's under construction. They're fixing it, doing some stuff with the elevator, not because Spider-Man. The Smithsonian National Zoo, yes, they have pandas. The Washington National Cathedral, or as you guys know it better by, the Cathedral Church of St. Peter and St. Paul in the City and Diocese of Washington, D.C. Christ Church in Alexandria, Virginia. This is actually Washington's home church. Very, very old church. It's also, in addition to being George Washington's church, it was also Robert E. Lee's church. So to Washington's home, Mount Vernon. It was great. There are trees there significantly bigger than Mrs. Mazer. I know because I took pictures. Back in D.C., we saw the MLK Jr. Memorial and the Fdr Memorial, which we kind of got to see twice because there were some girls who shall remain nameless that forgot their phone in this bathroom, so we had to go out and then we had to double back. The Jefferson Memorial, that's the one I said don't jump off things because people hurt themselves. We got to go to the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. That was actually cool because we were there at night. We weren't seeing a show or anything, but we did get to go up on the observation deck, which was really cool. We got to see out and just kind of see the city at night and see the Potomac. Also, these are not all the places we went. I left out a ton of other museums and things like that, but this is just kind of show you what we're talking about here. The White House, the Blair House, which is like the guest house for the White House. When we were at the White House, as I mentioned, the French president was in town, so we could not actually get super close to the White House. And the Blair House was in use because the French president was here. Lafayette Park is named after the Marquis de Lafayette, a Revolutionary War hero that you will learn tons about next year. There's a statue of him there. The Ellipse is a park. There you go. It's a very large one. When they do the Christmas tree lighting every year, it's there at the Ellipse. So that's what the Ellipse is. It's a big open space. The Boy Scout Memorial is actually right nearby. We, at the time, did have some Eagle Scouts in that class, and so they went to see that. Actually, I think we had one Eagle Scout, one working on his Eagle Scout. We went to the Newseum, which is about journalism and news and stuff. It was not my favorite museum. I love museums, but not every museum is for you. That was not my favorite museum there, but it was other people's favorite museum there. For example, it was Mrs. Mizer's most favorite museum that we went the whole time. Smithsonian National Museum of American History, I think is amazing because it's great and history. And then we went to the Museum of Natural History, which is also cool and has some neat stuff in it. Lots of cool gemstones and whatnot. It's got the Hope Diamond coming. How could you not like that? But eventually, sadly, we did have to return home. All trips end. And so we flew zoom, all the way back to Fort Myers. Ta-da. So that was 43 slides, and the first ones were done well, and the last ones were not done well. To kind of give you an idea of both yes, good stuff, and no, not good stuff. All right, my dudes, this is what I expect from you. Now, in a normal year, if you were someone who did not opt to go on the trip, because of the fact that the class trips, you're running from like 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and learning those 3-4 days, that whole time. We expected the people who stayed to learn the same kind of material. And so I always required 40 or more stops. So like back here at the beginning where I was talking about like this is the United States Holocaust Museum, and I'd like the 3 stops for it. That's fine, and that counts as 3 stops, but like I had a paragraph on each of them, and like this one had 6 pictures, and that had 1 picture, and all that. Now, things are a little bit different this year. And after talking to a couple of your teachers, I am not going to require the full 40 stops, which means I need you to be awesome. So I need you to do a really, really good job so that when I'm grading, your grades are good. So, there you go. It's hopefully going to be something where you learn a lot. If you get stuck, there are some, like I said, how-to videos that will walk you through this. It is very, very easy. Essentially, if you can use Google Maps, you can use this. And it's based on all the same software. So, ladies and gents, You have a week to do a wonderful project. Things like spelling and grammar do count. This is going to be a grade that may be shared across a number of different classes. So do take your time. Don't rush through it. And don't procrastinate and wait until the last minute and turn in something that is subpar. All right? Thank you very much, guys. I look forward to seeing what you come up with.